What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Kevin Jackwitz. This is the Kaged Review. And so, finally getting back into The Walking Dead. I told you guys that I had like an entire season to catch up on. Well, you gotta remember that that means that I start way back in 10. And so I'm actually checking out 10:16. Alright, so I got some notes here, so just bear with me because I gotta look down at them. I literally watched everything up until like half the season of 11, so I can't remember it all at once. So check this out. When we open up the episode for 10:16, we catch a glimpse of Gabriel trying to comfort the kids, and we get a glimpse of like where everybody is that's been kind of scattered throughout the area here. You get a glimpse of Carol and Daryl. Eugene gives up. He's like, Eugene's kind of fed up with this mission that they're on to go find his friend Stephanie, and Ezekiel has to give him like this really big pep talk and kind of boost his morale so that he's willing to continue on. And of course, as we know, as the viewers, they're going to find the people in the Commonwealth. We all know how that turns out if you've ever read the comics. But I thought it was really cool. I thought it was like one of those really classic, inspiring Ezekiel speeches that he just gives. Back in, I think they're in Hilltop. I'm not honestly sure because there was something going on with like, I think Alexandria is just kind of completely destroyed and they all had to go to the Hilltop. So I'm going to say Hilltop. But the whole other group with Carol, Daryl, Gabriel, all that, Lydia, all of them, they're talking about a plan and how to deal with the Whisperers because, you know, this is the final episode of the season and obviously something has to happen there. And so they come up with this idea that we're not entirely positive about yet, and we see it later in the show, and it was actually pretty cool. It was a really good idea. But of course, this is The Walking Dead, and things happen. Right after this meeting that they have, there's this little spot where Negan is trying to back out. He doesn't want to be a part of this. He thinks it's a stupid plan, and Daryl's like, if we're putting all our lives on the line, so are you. You're helping, whether you like it or not. So we have this group of people now that are from Hilltop. They have this plan, and we have this big moment where they're all in this cabin. They got dressed up as walkers. They got blood and guts all over them, and so they open the door, and here come the walkers. And so they have to, you know, kind of be just like the Whisperers. And so there's a scene where it doesn't work out so well for somebody, but most of the people make it through. You know, all the major characters, nothing happens. There's also a conversation that's between Negan and Lydia, and Negan, you know, having spent time with the Whisperers and kind of understanding a little bit more, especially about Lydia, and they've kind of had their moments together where they've connected. Negan feels a certain responsibility for Lydia, and he tells her that she needs to leave because shit's about to go down, and he doesn't want to see her involved. He doesn't want her to get hurt, which I actually thought was like cool to see a softer side of Negan. So that's kind of exactly what Lydia does. She takes off, and it was Carol, I believe, that catches her, and so she's walking through the walkers just like everybody else. And this one of the crew, you know, kind of somebody we don't really know, gets attacked and killed, and so Lydia picks up her bag, and Carol sees her and knows that it's her even with the face mask on. And so we have a little moment there between those two where Carol's trying to stop her. And then we come to the plan, which is actually really cool. I thought this was pretty smart. They have an old style wagon that they've got horse-drawn carriage, you know, because everything else is done by now. And they have a radio blasting Talking Heads burning down the house. I thought that was a really interesting song choice, but really funny. And I really liked it. That was a great moment. And so they are literally getting this entire herd to follow the noise they're creating through this radio. I thought that was a really good idea. But like I said earlier, this is The Walking Dead, and not everything goes according to plan. And so the Whisperers, who are walking, of course, with the walkers, they come and destroy the wagon. And so now it's just stuck. It's dead weight. And now the people from Hilltop have absolutely no escape. They are sit there, they're surrounded by the Whisperers, they're surrounded by walkers. It was actually a pretty cool, tense moment. Of course, all the main characters, they get away, nothing major happens. That has actually been a problem, I think, with this series for quite some time because, let's face it, in this kind of situation, you're going to have casualties. And so the only casualties they make are people we don't really care about and aren't invested in, you know? And that's been one of the things that I've had a big gripe about with The Walking Dead, is at the end of the day, it used to be very Game of Thrones-ish, and I've made that comparison so many times because you don't know who's going to make it from week to week. It made it exciting. It made it, like suspenseful. But they've kind of killed that off because they haven't really done that in a while. But at any rate, they've got these guys, now they're in this building, they're hiding out, and Gabriel finds himself in a situation with Whisperers, and he's trying to fight his way out, but it doesn't look like he's going to make it, and then all of a sudden, this dude comes out, kills the dude that's attacking Gabe, and here comes Maggie. And so now she's back, we got the big return, but, I don't know, man, it was a little anticlimactic, if I'm being honest. For me personally, that's just how I felt. It's like, yeah, it's cool to have her back, but I just feel like it could have been done so much better. So then we kind of get into this scenario where you have the rest of Hilltop. They're trying to survive this now because, like I said, you've got the Whisperers and you've got Walkers. And so you catch this glimpse of Beta, who of course is now basically the alpha of the Whisperers. And you hear somebody saying, hey asshole, doing the whole Whisperer thing, and it turns out it's Negan. And so Negan and Daryl both kind of take out Beta. And Daryl takes two huge blades, sticks them in Beta's eyes, and then of course he gets torn apart by the Walkers. It was pretty great. I mean, that was one hell of a death scene, for sure. So now we have at least one major casualty, but in truth, we already knew that was going to happen. Like, it's the final episode of the season. You know they're doing away with the Whisperers. You know you got the final season coming out. So it's like, it had to happen. From there, you have all these Walkers that are still following the crew, and so Carol has an idea. And she's going to take off her Walker clothes and just walk down toward this cliff. And so she gets the entire herd to follow her. And it looks like she's just going to walk off the cliff herself, and then she's pulled back from the cliff, and all the Walkers just keep going, and they tumble off the cliff into this huge ravine. And just like Carol was trying to save Lydia earlier from leaving, Lydia is the one who saves Carol and pulls her back. So I thought that was kind of apropos. And after all of this, at the end of the episode, you finally get to see Maggie rejoin the rest of the crew. And of course, there's that tense moment with Maggie looking at Negan. We already knew that was coming. But then you have Eugene, Ezekiel, Yumiko, and Princess, and they find what they're looking for, but not how they expected. They run into this area where Eugene's expecting to see Stephanie, and they just get swarmed by these soldiers, like stormtrooper armor or something. It's this like white, like plastic metal looking stuff. I mean, it really looks like some kind of Star Wars character. But that is kind of how it looks in the comics too. So we'll give them half and half for that. So at the end of the day, how did I feel about this episode? It really felt anticlimactic in some ways, and I've said that before. I think that's a problem with this series overall. Ever since season 7, it's really lost steam because you've had so much that has happened up to this point that is gripping. It's really suspenseful. You really are on edge because you don't know if your favorite character is going to get knocked off the next week or not. But ever since season 7, it's really been just kind of there. Like, you had a couple of great moments. I think when Alpha put all the heads on the pikes, I think that was pretty big, and it was great because it wasn't always who you think it's going to be. I like how the series is actually changing it up from the comics a little bit to keep you on your toes because you don't actually know what's going to happen, and that's important in something like this. I think the way they killed Beta was really, really just badass. It really was. Like, that was cool. But was that enough to save the episode? And for me, not really. I'm glad Maggie's back, but I felt like that wasn't really impactful enough. Like, she just pops up. So this, I mean, it's really been telltale of the entire series, as of like season 8 and on. You know, you have some cool moments, but it's lost its edge, and that is sad for me because we're coming into the final season, and now we have someone at the helm who just doesn't take risks. And if you don't take a risk, you're not going to catch anybody's attention, and that's what got this series as far as it did. You do have some great performances, but you know, then again, you have Rick's gone, Michonne's gone, so you got all these massive characters that aren't even there anymore. You know, this series relied on some very strong performances from them, and now they're gone. And so, what do? Daryl is, I mean, he's good. You know, Norman is a really good actor, and I think Carol is got a really good actress as well. But they've lost so much steam and so many big characters just from like BS, like disappearing, like Rick. And you know, the story goes that they don't know what's going on with Michonne. Well, that's weak. I'm sorry, it just is. So I'm really hoping that they pick it up next season. Like, I kind of liked this season. I liked the dynamic with Negan and Alpha especially, and the big payoff at the end. I thought that was amazing. But you have highlight moments in a series that has fallen off, and that's where I'm at. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, hit the like button, subscribe, and share. My name is Kevin Jackwitz, Kaged Nation, out.